are now recording. So it's been a while since we had our class because of some, different factors like meetings and such kind of things. But we want to be back and continuing with what we have been doing. So we want to continue from where we left. We in the previous class we discussed a research problem, and therefore today we are going to discuss research design. And basically we are going to talk about what a research design is as a preview of what we already learned in the previous classes, and then labor to see the different kinds of research designs that are there and that are normally used. So let me share a screen. So let me share this screen here. All right, so research design, basically a design, and I hope anytime that you are not able to hear me or see my video, please be raise that issue so that we can you cannot be left behind, because the network can have technical hitches. So it is important that if you feel you're not able to see the screen shared, or you're not able to hear my voice, or you're not able to see the video, then please holla. Research design is basically a plan of what you are intending to do during your research. A design is a plan, just as we have been talking about object-oriented analysis and design. A design is a model. It's a plan. It's a plan of the real thing. So a research design is basically a plan of the activities that are going to take place and every other thing that concerns the research. A research design is normally a document that is written. So all the plans that you are making concerning your research, you write them in a document. And that document is what is called a research design document. It is like traveling, and during your travel, you are intending to visit some certain places, you are intending to meet some certain people. So what you're going to do, you're going to write an itinerary. You know an itinerary, yeah? A traveling plan. From here, you're going to move from here to here, then from here to here, then I'm going to see this and this, then I'm going to visit this museum, and I'm going to visit this bookstore to pick a book to be reading during my journey. Then I'm going to visit such and such a person. In other words, you have a plan of what you're going to do during your travel days. It's called an itinerary. It's a plan of what you're going to do and how you're going to do those things, okay? So a research design as well is a plan of what you're going to do during your research and every other thing that concerns your research. It is a plan, okay? So a research design is normally written before the research because it's a plan before the research. Now, what are the main elements of a research design? What does a research design contain? The research design contains, number one, what is the study about? Okay, like what is the subject? What are you dealing with? What is your research about? What is the subject of research? Okay, what is the purpose of the research? What are the objectives of the research? You know, there is always a research title and research objectives. Research title is the subject matter. The research objectives are the things you intend to accomplish during the research, okay, or the things you intend to accomplish, to clarify, to questions you intend to answer during your research. Those are the objectives, okay? Where will the study be carried out? If you're going out for a field survey or what we call a field excursion, yeah, a field excursion, all right? I want you to note these terms that we continue to use as we continue. A field excursion is just you going to the field and looking for data. Like if you're doing a research on e-commerce, you go out probably to Jumia offices physically there and do your research from there. You collect data from there. You ask people questions through questionnaires, interviews. So where will the study be carried out? Where are you going to carry out? What is a field? Yeah. When we'll be talking about sampling, we are going to be talking about the universe, something called the universe, but we are not there yet. What type of data is required? Yeah. What kinds of data are there? Primary data, secondary data, qualitative data, quantitative data. So you have to know what type of data is required. Okay, so you have to plan out even for that. You write in your document that I will go in search for quantitative data. Quantitative data is data that can be regarded in form of numbers, right? It can be counted, form of numbers. It can be counted, or it has numerical values. That is basically the idea. Okay. Where can the required data be found? This is related to where will the study be carried out. What periods of time will the study include? Why? Because every research is time bound. So you have to also include in the research design document what periods of time the study will include. Like when you will be doing your project, it's called the research project. When you'll be doing your project normally runs from a certain month to another certain month. So it's like you run it for like 3 months, I believe, or 4 months. So every kind of research has a time limit. Okay, has a time limit. So you have to specify how much time. Also, you have to specify what are you going to do with every single time. So you can divide the time into what we call a Gantt chart. A Gantt chart. But you're going to be taught a Gantt chart when you do your project. Okay, there will be a unit for project. So you're going to be taught that when you be doing your project, a Gantt chart, how to draw a Gantt chart, how to divide all your research activities into the Gantt chart. A Gantt chart is basically a chart of how you split your time to accommodate the different activities of your research, so that you don't waste time and so that you also do not spend a lot of time on some particular things that do not matter. And then what will be the sample design? We are going to come to sampling. Okay, we are going to come to sampling. There's a topic for sampling, so don't worry about this. What is a sample design? What techniques of data collection will be used? We're also going to go to data collection, but of course by now through other you have already learned in other avenues that you can use different methods to collect data, like questionnaires, interviews, observation, yeah, and other secondary sources like journals, books, magazines, biographies, autobiographies, diaries. So what techniques of data collection will you use? You also include that. What am I going to use to collect data? How will the data be analyzed? I'm going to use graphs or charts, or tables. In what style will the report be prepared? Will it going to be a PowerPoint presentation, or am I just going to prepare a document, or am I going to prepare a video or an audio? How will the report be prepared? So do you realize that everything here that you write, everything inside the research design basically reflects what the research is all about? In other words, you are planning for the research. So all the details of the research, you include them in the what? In the research design document. That is basically the idea. Okay. So everything about the research will include about. It's just like an itinerary of travel. If you are traveling, you write an itinerary, a plan of what you're going to be doing during your travel days. So just like that, also a research design contains all the things that you will do and how you will do them. So you have details about what you're going to do and also how you're going to do those things. Okay. Why do we need a research design? The first reason why we need a research design is that it makes the idea behind planning is for organization. Okay, the idea behind planning is for organization. So that is one of the benefits, and that's why we need the research design. We need to organize our research activities. Okay, and what organization does, it creates some sort of order to how we will conduct our research. So our research will not be haphazard. Okay, because when you are doing things haphazardly, there are disadvantages to that. Number one, you may waste time on things that don't matter. Number two, you may even spend a lot of money. You know, when you are traveling and you do not know where to go and what to do, you find yourself landing everywhere, spending money, going into this room, these other place, spending money there, these hotels, spending money there. And then at some point you realize, Atafe ushakula. Yeah. So basically, the idea behind planning is for organization, okay? And because of organization, now there are advantages. There are advantages like it enables the researcher to perform the research when he will perform the research in good time, all right, in good time, because it is organized, it is orderly, so time will not be wasted. Number two, it will also save on money. Even if not save it, it will ensure that the resources that have been allocated for the research have been used effectively. They have not been overused or underused. They have been used effectively because there is a plan of how things are supposed to be used. And there is also a division of labor, because you see, if you are doing a research with other people, with a team of researchers, you'll also divide the labor. Like you and I, we are going to go and collect data from those. You and I, through questionnaires. You and I, person 3, person 4 is going to go and conduct an interview with a certain people. Then person 5 and 6, they are going to go and collect secondary data, like read magazines and books concerning that community we are researching on. All right, things like that. So that division of labor also enables us to save on time. Okay. The other thing is that a research design, basically, it also facilitates or makes it possible to for a research to bear more accurate results. It makes it possible for a research to bear more accurate results. Why? Because if you have planned, for instance, if you've planned to go and to go and give people questionnaires, if you have planned to go and give people questionnaires, and some other people to go and give, conduct interviews, other people to go and collect secondary sources of data from books, then you gather all those data, you come together, you gather all those data you've collected, and then you begin to analyze it. You find that because you had planned for all that, you are able to come out, the research is able to produce for you more accurate results or findings, more accurate results or findings. Also, the other advantage of a research design is that it helps the researcher or researchers to deal with uncertainties. It helps the researcher or researchers to deal with uncertainties. So if they go out to research and they meet some things or some variables that they did not factor in the research design document, they are able to manipulate their plan. They are able to readjust their plan. But if you didn't have a plan in the first place, uncertainties will knock you over. Yeah, uncertainties will knock you over. They will inconvenience you because you are not planned, you have just gone into the field. But if you plan and go and then meet uncertainties like weather conditions which you are not planned for, uncertainties like security issues that you are not planned for, you are able to readjust your plan and see what you did not do so that you accomplish. If it was weather, and in day 4 in your research design document, day 4 in the Gantt chart said that you're going to be going out to give people questionnaires or to interview people in the streets. If it's a research you're doing in the streets, you're going to go and do what you call random sampling of respondents and interview them. But then it happens that in day 4, there's a lot of rain, you're not able to go out. Remember, your plan says day 4, it's a day for going out for interviews, but there is rain. So you're able to readjust and say that, okay, we are going to adjust our plan because day 4 was for data collection through interviews. We are going to put that day 5, and then all other activities follow. So if your research was ending on day 10, if your research was ending on day 10, then that means your research will end on day 11 because one day has been inconvenienced. Okay. Yeah, basically it just helps you to organize, to basically to be able to use the resources that have been allocated wisely and effectively, because some of the resources allocated are things like finances, and also other things are like research tools. Okay, like you can be given a recorder so that when you're going out for interviews, you can actually record people. You can be given other things like biros and pens and those things, and papers that you will be needing to print when you need to print more questionnaires. So the idea behind planning is to ensure that there is order, and because of order, there will be more economical use of resources or more effective use of resources. There will be less time wasted, yeah, because there's a plan, there's a schedule, there's a timetable. There is a possibility of more accurate results because you are not doing it haphazardly. Okay, more accurate results. Why? Because after collection, analysis, after analysis, report writing, such kind of thing. So there will be a possibility of having more accurate results. Okay, and also it helps you to, if you are a research team, to divide labor. Haven't you said that? How you have, yeah, to divide labor. So if you're going out for research and you are 5 people, 3 people, you're a group of people, you can actually divide labor. So also research design enables you to divide labor so that everybody can participate fully. Okay, and if everybody can participate fully. So that is the need for a research design. Now, what should a research design have? Features of a good design. Now, the features of a good design is basically what a research design should have so that it can be a complete design. Okay. Now, there are different things that a research design should have, as we have said here, what a research design should contain. So if I ask you what are the features of a good research design, they are also these ones, okay? Like, what is the subject matter? What are we going out to research for? What are the objectives? In other words, what are the things we desire to accomplish at the end, or in the process, or at the end of our research? What are the data collection methods that we'll use? What are the data analysis methods that we'll use? What kind of data are we going to fetch? Are we fetching quantitative data? Are we fetching qualitative? Are we fetching primary data or secondary or both, right? What kind of data collection tools? How are we going to analyze? How are we going to prepare our reports? All right? How are we going to prepare the report after we are done? Okay, so basically research design, basically if I ask you what are the features of a research design, you need to tell me what are these contents. The features are the contents of a research design. Okay, what should a research design contain? And I've given you a very good example, right? So like if you're traveling, you have an itinerary or an itinerary plan. Yeah, you go and so what will be in your itinerary plan? Which places am I visiting? Why am I visiting? What am I desiring to accomplish by visiting? How am I going to spend money, right? How long am I going to be there, right? If I'm traveling with people, if I'm traveling with people, what is going to, what is the role of each of us in the travel? In other words, if you think through that line, you are actually able to do what? You are actually able to know what a research design is about. Okay, so these are the features of the research design. They are also the contents of the research design. So if we come here and we discuss the features, basically it's just the contents, all right? But then I want us to talk about the characteristics, all right? The characteristics of a good research design. The characteristics of a good research design. The characteristics of a good research design is basically what makes a research design a good research design, okay? The first one, all the information there needs to be clear, and it needs to be clear. That is number one. In other words, from activity A, we will move from activity B. So it is not ambiguous, it is clear, okay? From activity A to activity B, it is clear. Everything in there, it is clear. Then number two, it has to be detailed. That is the characteristic that has to be, that makes a research design a good research design, regardless of the content which is in there. It has to be detailed. Why? Because it is the details that help you navigate through the research, right? So if you're going to do a research on, you're going to do data collection using questionnaires, give details of how you're going to conduct that that data collection process. Say you're going to go create a rapport with people, ask them to fill for you, give them confidentiality, tell them that this information you're giving, it will not be used against you. reassure them, then give them, then ask them to write the answers, or ask them to write the answers within this particular period of time, so that of course they may return them. And then after they return those documents, they have filled the questionnaires, then now you can analyze the answers and see all the similarities and analyze your findings and all that. In other words, every particular thing in your research design has to have details, okay? Details, details, details. So that is important in a research design document, details. The other thing, a research design should emphasize on the discovery of ideas. It should emphasize on the discovery of ideas and insights, all right? It should emphasize on the discovery of ideas and insights. What that means is that your research design should be geared towards having or finding some findings, finding some discoveries, finding some results. So it should not be geared towards enjoyment. Research is not basically for enjoyment. It's to get some findings to address a particular matter. So that should be a good research design should emphasize on discovery of ideas and insights. Also, it needs to be accurate. What accurate means is that all the information you're giving there is not blurred. Is not blurred. Blurred as in BLURRED. You are accurate. I think this really comes together with the point about the items being clear, but this is a little bit different. Accuracy is if you're talking about pens, how many pens you are going to avail in the area, in the field of research for people to use in the questionnaires. You know, when you're giving people questionnaires, you also have to give them biros and pens and such things. So you have to specify how many number of pens, how many pens are you going to avail. So it is not a blurred number, it is a clear number, it is a definite number. There needs to be accuracy, okay? Accuracy. Also, if you are moving from point A to point B, use Google to determine how many kilometers you're going to move, all right? And include those kilometers in the research design. Accuracy, have accurate, don't just say we'll move from A to B, which is quite a distance, or which is quite a while, or which is a short time. No, that is not accurate. When you say which is a short time is not accurate. Just say which will take us 5 minutes, a 5 minutes drive from point A to point B. Of course, point A has a name and point B has a name. 5 minutes drive from Nairobi town to Westlands, something like that, okay? So accuracy, there needs to be accuracy. There needs to be that where there is specificity of things. Also, your research design should accommodate for future changes in case of eventualities. That is another characteristic. It should accommodate for future changes in case of eventualities. So for instance, if you know, if you're planning for 30 days or 10 days of research, then remember that there might be eventualities that may cause those 10 days not to really be done in 10 days. You may do them in 8 days, 9 days, or 11 days. So you need to accommodate those kinds of eventualities. You need to think about things that can happen, and these are things you can actually perceive, you can guess, you can create a probability of those things happening. For instance, if it is during this weather, you know, anytime it can rain, okay? So during this weather, you know, anytime it can rain. So what will you do? You will put an allowance for at least for like 2 days, 2 days that will go unused because of rainy conditions, all right? Because of rainy conditions, such kind of things, okay? So those are the characteristics. It should be clear. Things should be clear. It should be accurate. And others should be specific. It should accommodate for changes. It should emphasize on finding ideas and discoveries, okay, and all that. So those are the characteristics of a good, or the qualities of a good research design, okay. Now let us discuss some very, very important concepts related to research design. There are some important concepts related to research design and also research itself in general. These concepts are as follows: dependent and independent variables, extraneous variable, control, confounded relationship, research hypothesis, experimental and non-experimental hypothesis testing research, experimental and control groups, treatments, experiments, experimental units. So we are going to discuss each of these concepts related to research design one by one. Let's begin with independent and dependent variables. Independent and dependent variables. So what is a dependent and what is an independent variable? The first thing we need to ask ourselves, what is a variable? A variable is a concept which can take on a quantitative value. Okay? So a variable is something like height, weight, income, population, number of days, number of years, those kinds of things in a research that can take on a quantitative value. Okay? So that is what you call a variable. It's like when we are discussing programming, we normally say that a variable is a space in memory where data can be stored and accessed from. But here, a variable is not a space in memory. You're not dealing with a computer. You're dealing with research. So a variable is basically a concept. It is a concept that can change. All right. It is a concept that can take on a qualitative value, on a quantitative value, like height, weight, population, those kinds of things that you can actually count. But then qualitative phenomena or attributes are also quantified on the basis of the presence or absence of the concerning attributes. So there are what we also call variables which are taken on a qualitative nature are called variables, are also variables. So if your research is going to be dealing with qualitative data, like if you are discussing things to do with relationships, if you are doing a research on relationships, right? So you may find that you are dealing with variables such as you are trying to compare